Good morning, grace and peace, God's people. It is another beautiful day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. This Make Your Day post by Pastor Chelsea Sims of Trinity Amy Zion, Blacksburg, South Carolina. If you don't have church home, come see us as soon as possible. All right, we have services Sundays at 11 a.m. Listen, this morning, I want to talk about making your day. We all understand that God has made us God, so we're able to make our day just as God has made our day. In a similar fashion to the way that God has made our day. Good morning, Sister Davis. What he has started with is darkness. Look at what the scriptures say. I've got this baby in my being, making sure she got it right. The scriptures say that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and there was darkness and a void over the deep. We have to understand that's very significant because God began with darkness. You don't begin with a light situation. You don't begin with understanding. You don't begin with things being clear, with you seeing where you're going. At the beginning, you start with a very dark situation. I was telling my church a few days ago about the lady who created windshield wipers. When it has the patent over windshield wipers, she started with a dark circumstance. She started with a circumstance that was opposing her, started with a circumstance that was negative. And then she moved and worked her way until that negative circumstance became a positive circumstance. She started with darkness. So, saints, I don't want you to get discouraged when your situation begins dark. I don't want you to get discouraged when your situation begins abysmal, when it doesn't particularly look optimistic. You've got to know that God started the earth from a dark place. He started your life, started your beginning, started this world from nothing. He began this world from the worst of circumstances. Okay, when everything else was bad, he saw the best in us, like Marvin Sapp says. When everything else was terrible, God saw good. He was able to see in the dark. Saints, we got to be able to see in the dark. We got to be able to see in darkness. We got to be able to see through darkness to see the light. We've got to envision things as they will be and not as they are. We've got to take our circumstances and the things that are against us and flip those things to be the exact things that we need. We have to have light in order to survive. But in order to have light, you must first begin with darkness. So you got to be okay with dark times. You got to count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing that the trying of your faith worketh patience. You have to know that you have to allow patience to have its perfect work. You got to endure hardness like a good soldier. You got to tend to the flock of the Lord. You got to do what he's calling you to do. I don't know who's going to hear this today, but I just came to encourage you to let you know that just because the situation is dark at the beginning does not mean that it wasn't dark always. See, my daughter has been coughing all night. She's been struggling, being sick for the last few days. But darkness in the beginning does not mean darkness at the end. I celebrate even though she's in the place in a period of sickness, because every good thing starts as a dark thing. Every good thing, every good and perfect gift comes from above. But everything that God began with started with darkness. He starts with an abysmal situation. Look at even the New Testament. Before Jesus sets foot on the earth, God allows us 400 years of absolute silence. 400 years of absolute silence with nothing said from heaven, with the people of God just wandering around without any word from heaven. Why? Because the situation is going to get dark before Jesus introduces his life. Good morning, sis. Good morning, mama. Good morning, wife. God is going to allow the situation to get dark before he steps in it. You got to understand, this is the way of our God. This is the way of our God. He allows darkness first and then manifests light. The only way that light can have its dramatic entrance in your life and we run and tell the whole world about it is when we began in a dark season. So no matter how dark it is, no matter how depressed your circumstances are, no matter what sadness plagues your spirit, you must know that God started with darkness too. He made your day beautiful and wonderful, but he began with darkness. I heard an artist tell it like this. He says, the darkest colors make the most beautiful pictures. You gotta start with the dark colors. You gotta start and deal with those hard circumstances. This is why in Christianity, we don't run from hardness. We run to hardness with the name of the Lord as our banner. It's our shield. It's our defense. We herald that name. We speak high of that name because having that name in front of us defeats whatever we are facing. Saints, you got to believe me when I say this, that it will start dark, but it will end up light. So you got to hold on. You got to believe God. You got to watch God do it. You got to stay engaged, stay holding on, stay connected, and keep fighting, because in a minute, darkness will turn to light, and you'll be able to tell the whole world, I told you so. I knew God was faithful and was going to do it. Listen, if this word blesses you, can you do me a favor and share it on your page and share it to somebody's inbox? Encourage somebody with this word. Helps us with the Facebook algorithm, helps us to get this word out to people, helps us to encourage more and more people, because that is our focus, moving God's people to their best, moving God's people to what God has for them, all right? I love you all. I believe that darkness may be how it begins for you, but the day will end with the light of the Lord. Be blessed.